Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming in. And my name is Jing-Amy Fang. I'm going to start my seminar very soon, probably in 3 minutes. So can anybody in the chat tell me whether you can see me and hear me clearly? Thank you. Okay, great. And I'm going to share my PPT very soon. So when I share my PPT, please also in the chat tell me if you can see it properly. Thank you. And today's seminar, we are also live stream at the same time via our YouTube channel. And my assistant is going to share in the chat of the link of our YouTube channel. So you don't need to go YouTube channel because in YouTube channel, you are not able to see PPT. So if you're already in the Zoom room, please stay in the Zoom room. The YouTube channel is just for future reference because we will upload our educational video on that YouTube channel weekly. So if you are not very clear on certain issue, you can go to check our video, and also you can leave me a comments on the topics that you would like me to cover. So that YouTube channel is for regular using base. If you are interested, you can subscribe, you can follow our YouTube channel. And today's seminar, we are going to live stream at YouTube channel at the same time. This is our first time to do the YouTube channel live stream, so we don't know if there is any audience will be there, but our main focus is in this room, in the Zoom room, and we're going to share our PPT as well. And we are going to start our seminar very soon. So before we start, I want to just lay out some rule. And so during my seminar, everybody will be in mute condition. And after the seminar, we will have about 15 to 20 minutes Q&A session. So you could open your mic and ask the question yourself. So this way you can we can communicate via the Zoom, or you could type your question in the chat. Either you can type the question to me directly, or you can let everybody see your question. So we prefer everybody be able to see the question. So this way everybody can benefit from my answer to the question. So probably somebody will ask the question that you will have as well. So during the seminar, you can also type your question in the chat. So after the seminar, I'm going to respond to those questions all at once. And we also have a 2022 H1b WeChat group. In that group, our audience also asked quite a few questions. I'm going to answer that questions first, right after my seminar. Today's topic, we're going to cover how to prepare tough H1Bs and increase your chance to get H1B approval. So this is the very, I would say, very valuable seminar. And we're going to share 3 really tough H1B cases, and from those the real cases, you are able to see how we prepare for case and how we overcome the challenge during the H1B adjudication. And also because 2022 H1B lottery start in March. So our today's seminar is going to also cover how to avoid H1B lottery mistakes and how to increase your chance to get an H1B quota. So today's seminar will cover 2 parts of the H1B preparation. One part is how to prepare the real H1B case, and the other part is about H1B lottery. And today's seminar will be in English because our first seminar, which is on December 15, 2021, is in Chinese. So this one will be in English. And because we have non-Chinese speaker audience here, and we are going to have the third seminar regarding H1B preparation in Chinese. So if you can join our WeChat group and subscribe our WeChat article platform, you will be able to know when we're going to have the third H1B seminars. And thank you very much for today's participation. And I think we are going to start our seminar right now. So right now I'm sharing my PPT. Please let me know if you can see the PPT clearly. The WeChat group code will be shared right after my seminar because I saw a WeChat friends are interested in joining our WeChat group. So the last page of my PPT will be the WeChat group code, so you can scan. Can anybody see my PPT? Could you give me a feedback on whether the PPT is showing correctly? Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, we're starting our H1B seminar. So this is my contact information and our website. And in our website, we have listed all the H1B approval summary and H1B approval notice for you to see. And you will see we cover a lot of field, including engineering, education, marketing, business, and science. So you can compare your case with our approved H1B summary to see if you have a good chance to get H1B approval. So I think that is a very good resource for you to see what's the real case will look like. And we are going to dive on H1B directly. So for H1B visa, I think the key point to successfully get H1B approval, before that, you have to understand the H1B requirement. So H1B is a working visa offered to foreign worker in the United States only for the specialty occupation. So specialty occupation basically is the job that the entry level of that job requires at least a bachelor degree in certain major to perform the job duty. So we call that specialty occupation. So why specialty occupation is so important is because USA is challenging most of the H1B cases by using the specialty occupation standard. So if your H1B job meets specialty occupation requirement, your case is likely to be approved. Otherwise, USS will challenge you for parts of the specialty occupation. We are going to talk about 3 cases we have handled. So in those cases, you will have very clear picture on how USS is evaluating whether your position meets specialty occupation requirement. So besides the specialty occupation requirement, in your H1B case, you have to prove that you have the knowledge and educational background to perform the job duty. So let's say this job is a marketing research analyst job, and this job meets specialty occupation requirement, but whether you have the degree to perform this job, if your major is in music, of course, the officer is going to challenge whether you have equipped enough knowledge to perform this marketing research analyst job. So that's why the second requirement is to prove that you have the credential to perform the job duty. And then your employer has to meet certain requirement. The first and the most important is to meet the prevailing wage requirement. So Each job in each location will have a specific prevailing wage requirement. And the good news is right now, the entry level position, we all use the level 1 wage, so which put less burden on employer side. And then the last requirement in H1B adjudication is the business necessity, which means whether your employer really needs to hire this H1B for 3 years. So especially this requirement is important to small business. So if your sponsor is a new company, new startup, is a very small sized company. So the smallest company we have handled is only have 1 employee. So this part is to examine whether your employer has enough business to support them to sponsor your H1B and also have enough business to support the higher H1B for 3 years. So that's the basic requirement for H1B. And H1B key point, when we prepare for H1B, first of all, and the foremost and the most important is to choose the right position. Because when we evaluate what kind of H1B position would be good for you, first of all, we will evaluate your educational background. Second of all, we will evaluate your employer's budget. That is how much your employer is going to pay you. And then we combine those two facts. We go to the Department of Labor's occupation database. We're going to find the position that matches your background and matches your employer's business necessity and also has the budget that within your employer's annual budget to pay for this job. So once the position is secure, then the preparation flow would be submit the LCA report, get LCA report certified, draft your job description, and also draft your employer's business operation to prove that employer has the business necessity to support your H1B. So that's basically the flow we are going to work on H1B cases. Okay, the first case study, we're going to talk about this tough case. The major challenge of this H1B is, first of all, it's a startup financial advisory company. So it's a new company and small sized company. Usually those companies will be challenged the most. And the office is in the basement of owner's house. So it does not have an office setting. It does not rent the office. So the working location is in the basement. And there is no promising clients yet. So this is a new company and they have no clients yet. And the H1B employee is the only employee of the company, and the other one is the owner of the company. And this is a part-time position. It's a financial analyst position. They are going to apply for level 1 wage. And the most challenging part, I feel, is the owner did the initial filing himself. And when he got the RFE, he contacted us. So when we take the case, the initial finding, the mistakes already made. So that leaves very limited room for us to work around the case and then try to justify why this H1B meets H1B requirement. So when we prepare for the first RFE, remember, this is the first RFE. This case has total 2 RFEs. So the first RFE question about the business. So the RFE asks, where do you operate your business and why the basement is good to operate your business? And it asks whether the whole street, the other household also operate a business, the neighborhood situation. And it also asks your business plan, like how you're going to be able to pay for this H1B employee. So in this case, in this RFE, we focus on how to prove that this new company has enough business to support this H1B. So we gave them the basement layout and setting, tell them how they are going to work in this basement. And of course, we're going to mention that Bill Gates started his company in his basement, in his garage. So how come this startup could not do it? So we basically challenging the USCIS challenge that this is not a legit challenge for this case. And also we present the owner's ownership of the house. We present a map of the neighborhood, and we also provide a very detailed business plan. And we provide the bank statement to prove that although this is a startup, although we have no clients yet, but this owner has enough business fund to operate this business, to pay salary. And also we mention this owner's reputation. This owner is a college professor teaching finance, and he has successfully sold 3 startup company that he created. So basically his experience is to create startup company and then sell it. And because of his successful track record, we are confident that this business will be able to operate pretty well in the future. So this first RFE, we responded, and then 2 months later, we got another RFE. So apparently the business part already satisfied the officer's expectation, and now officer feel like, I'm going to challenge your specialty occupation for this financial analyst position. So the second RFE is a typical specialty occupation challenge. So we are very, very comfortable in responding this kind of RFE. We provide documentation to prove that 100% of this employee's time will be focused on financial analyst job description. And also we submit very detailed course examination to show that her background, her degree meets the financial analyst requirement. So she has enough knowledge to provide it. And also we have collect supporting letter from other business, from other startup business in the same industry to prove that this is the general requirement for this industry to require a bachelor degree is the minimum requirement for this position. And on top of that, we provide enough working sample for this employee and to show that this kind of report cannot be accomplished by someone without a bachelor degree in finance. And then case proved. We could say this case has all the possibility, has all the elements to get H1B challenge and denial. However, we are able to achieve approval after 2 RFEs, after initial finding was filed by a non-professional. And to be honest, I'm pretty proud of the final result of this case. This case also shows that if the company is a new company, if the company has no working location, company has no clients, it's very, very difficult to successfully sponsor an H1B unless you have provided enough or more than enough evidence to prove it. So this is a second case study. The second case of this challenge is the previous finding was denied, and then they contact us to do the refining. The previous denial is for a CAP exempt H1B because this is a non-profit organization, but associated with higher education in social worker. And the most challenging part for this is the employee himself. His degree is remotely related to the job because this employee has a master in public administration and the job is social worker. So he has no social worker degree. So how to justify a master in public administration will give him enough knowledge to perform this social worker position. So we submit very, very detailed job description, allocate enough time for each task, and then analyze the course he has taken during his master degree and why each course provides him what kind of detailed knowledge to enable him to perform each job duty. So this RFE also challenge about the level, also challenge about whether the entry level level 1 wage is the right wage for the position. We also overcome that part as well. So this case got approved. And for the takeaway for this case is, if the employee's educational background is remotely related to the job, usually USS will question. So be prepared. We would rather you prepare enough evidence in the initial finding to avoid RFE, so this way you can get a straight approval without any challenge. The third case. The challenge of this H1B is this company is very small. It's only, this company only has 5 employees, and the company's owner is also a college professor, and he has a company, he has a business on the side, and he's going to hire one of his students as a mechanical engineer to work on the project they were working while the student was in the PhD degree working with this professor. So this is a part-time mechanical engineer position, and also they offer level 1 wage, and this employee has a full-time job and she works remotely for this professor. So how to justify that you could have concurrent H1B, which means you can have multiple jobs at the same time, but each job has to be sponsored by each employer. So this employee also already have a full-time job, and she also has H1B with his full-time job employer. Now she wants to file concurrent H1B with her professor at her professor's company, and this is a part-time job, and this is a level 1 wage job. So this case we submitted, although it's a small company, it's a part-time job, it's a level 1 wage job, we did very, very good work in the initial findings. So this case was approved without any challenge. And also it's a regular processing case, but this case was approved within 4 days. So the takeaway of this case is, although it is a small company, but don't be afraid of the small size of the company, because small company is able to successfully sponsor H1B as long as the small company can provide enough evidence that it has enough business to sponsor H1Bs. And for this case, is a very, very good proof for that approach. So when we have a small company who is willing to give us offer, who is willing to sponsor H1B, work with an experienced lawyer to let him know how and what to prepare in order to demonstrate that your employer has enough business to sponsor H1B. So don't be afraid that if your sponsor is happen to be a small company. So that's the 3 cases I want to share. So from those 3 cases, they're all very tough case, but I believe only tough case can show the capability of a lawyer's job, and also a lawyer can make a huge differences in terms of preparing cases for tough H1B petition for tough situation. If you have any question regarding how to prepare case sponsored for small company, for startup company, for level 1 wage, for the job that employee may not have a degree directly related to the job, you can put in the chart. So we're going to go over that kind of question after the seminar. So this is the number I'm going to show you. So we all know H1B, we only have 85,000 quota each year. And in this column, H1B received column and the year, you can see each year the number to participate in H1B lottery is different. So from 2009 to 2013, that's the recession. So you will see it's so difficult to find a job. So that's why during the recession, we didn't have enough applications to meet the quota. So that's why the quota lasts pretty long. But after 2013, you will see the number increased dramatically, and 85,000 quota was not enough to let everybody has a quota. And last year, 2021, we have 31,000 candidates to fight for 85,000 quota. So less than 28% of H1b lottery participants get a quota. So this year, we will only see increase of the H1b quota participants. Why? Because in the US, we're hungry for new employees. And we can see a lot of employers, they are offering high salary to recruit talents. So we probably will see increase of H1b participants in H1b lottery this year. Then the next question is, how can we avoid H1b lottery mistakes? Because once you make mistakes, you are disqualified for the H1b lottery. You will lose opportunity to get H1b quota this year. So it's a battle that you have to win. So there is no way for you to make any even teeny tiny mistakes. So H1b lottery, the critical first step is only the valid registration could participate in H1b lottery. So in 2021, USCIS conducted 2 lotteries during the year. One is in March, the other is in July. In 2022, which is last year, 2022 physical year, which is 2021, USCIS conducted 3 lotteries, March, July, and November. The reason that USCIS conduct multiple lotteries is because the person who got elected in the first round, they were not able to submit H1b petition on time. So by the end of June, when the first round who got a lottery could not submit, by the end of June, USCIS will calculate all the quota that are not used. They are going to do another lottery. And the second round, if you could not submit H1b within 90 days and the USCIS find out if there is more quota left unused, they're going to conduct the third time of lottery. And also, I believe everybody knows that we have H1b abuse, lottery abuse in 2021, because a lot of H1b participants, they have 10 or 12 employers to support them in the H1b lottery. But eventually they're not a good faith job offer. So we have seen H1b participants, they got 8 H1b quota, but probably they only use 1 or 2 of them. And for the rest, they have to go to the second or third round of lottery. But the sad news is we have seen a lot of good H1b candidates. They could not wait until the second or the third lottery, because once they know, okay, I'm not selected in the first round, they leave their employer, they go back to their home country. So when we have the news about, oh, you were selected in the second or third lottery, unfortunately, the employer is not ready to submit H1b petition at all. So for those who have really good job offer, but they got selected in the later lotteries, it's very unfortunately that they could not go through. So here, I really wanted to remind you, in 2022, probably that will be the case. We're going to have 2, 3, or even 4th round of lotteries. If possible, stay with your employer. Keep a good relationship with your employer. So if you are selected in the later time or during the year, so your employer is willing to submit H1b petition for you. So don't burn the bridge. Don't leave your employer. Stay with it until the end of 2022. So this way will maximize your chance to file H1b petition. How to prepare for the H1b petition? Can we ask Joy? Could you mute the person who has the mic on? So prepare your H1b lottery. I would say how to increase your chance. If you have multiple offers, like multiple H1B, you could have multiple H1B entries. So that's a reasonable way to use this system. How should we say that? Let's say if you have if you are really good, excellent, and a lot of employers wants to offer you a job and they were very supportive to you, you can have multiple H1B lottery entries in the system. That will increase your chance to get a lottery, to get a quota. And same employer cannot have more than one H1B lottery entry for one employee. So that's the rule. But if you have multiple offer, they are from different employers, then you could have multiple H1B entries in the system. That will increase your chance to get an H1B lottery, okay? And this is one tip for you. And the second is if your OPT is going to expire early April, you have to prepare your H1B filing package before the lottery, because once by the end of March, you know you were selected of a quota, and you probably run out of time to prepare for H1B package to submit before your OPT expires. So why is submitting H1B petition is so important, like before your H1B runs out, is so important? That's because you will have enormous benefit if you can submit your H1B before OPT expires. If you can timely submit your H1B before OPT expires, the gap cap rule will offer you continue stay in the US, continue work for your employer until October 1st. So that's when the H1B starts. If you could not meet this deadline, you will lose the benefit. So that's why we cautiously remind you, if your OPT expires early April, talk to your lawyer, get your H1B filing package ready to go. So whenever you see, okay, you have a quota, so they are ready to file your case. Make sure your case filed before your OPT expires. Mistakes. H1B lottery, what mistake is fatal that will cause you lose your H1B opportunity? Duplicate H1B filings. So duplicate H1B filings means that one employer has more than one filing for you. It's different to we just suggested how to increase your chance to get a lottery. How to increase your chance of lottery is if you have multiple employers, they can have multiple entries for you. But duplicate H1B entries is also, that's all from one employer. So if you have duplicate in the system, all the H1B entries will be considered invalid. So you will lose your chance to have an H1B quota. So make sure your employer, HR, communicate with your lawyer. So make sure they have very clear assignment, like what HR should do, what lawyer should do, because HR and the lawyer, both sides have the authority to create H1B registration for you. So by doing that, if there is no good communication, HR does one entry for you, lawyer does one entry for you, then you have duplicated H lottery entries. So that will disqualify you from the lottery. So this is what we do. Every year we train HR, we communicate with our HR, we tell them clearly what they should do and what they should not do. So this way we haven't seen any duplicated H1B entry from our firm. So make sure your lawyer and HR, they communicated with each other clearly. So if your HR left the company already and you already have a previous H1B registration account set up, but right now nobody knows how to access that H1B lottery account because the HR already left and the account linked to the HR's email account. Don't panic. You can let your new HR use another email, create another new H1B registration account. Then you will be able to access that account. So our tip for the employer is to use a special email address linked to your H1b Lottery account. So this way, no matter who goes, that account will always be accessible, and you should have no impact on your H1b Lottery. H1b Lottery has 3 stages. So information input, first stage, second stage, verification between lawyer and your HR, third stage, final stage, paid H1b registration fee, which is $10. Only when you complete all stage of H1b registration, this H1b registration is valid. Otherwise, if you just input the information, you didn't go through all the stage, that's not even a complete H1b registration. So that will disqualify you from the H1b Lottery. So this is another information that we would like to share with you. The fourth, before your H1b Lottery, confirm H1b title and the salary. Why is this important? This information is not required for your H1b Lottery. So a lot of people think, oh, that's not important. As long as I'm in the system, I'm fine. But we have seen case, you're lucky, you get a quota. After you get a quota, you start to preparing your H1b. And this time, by that moment, your employer realize, oh my God, your H1b title and salary is too high. We could not afford it. So we decided we're not going to submit H1b petition. So yes, you are lucky, but if you have not confirmed your H1b title and salary before the lottery with your employer, chances are, even you get a quota, your employer may not willing to submit your H1b petition. So make sure you communicate with your employer with the title and the salary before the H1b Lottery. So this way, once you get H1b quota, your employer is happy to submit the petition to go further. So this is the 4 tips we would like to share with you. H1b Alternative. What if we could not get H1b quota? What if we're not selected? We don't have a good luck during H1b Lottery. So do I have alternative working visa? Yes, you do. Higher education or nonprofit research institute, they are quota exempt. So which means if you have a job in working for university or college or nonprofit research institute, you're not subject to quota, so you can file at any time. Or if you have a certain achievement, you may qualify for O1 working visa. So for all working visa, it does not have a quota, does not have prevailing wage requirement, and it can be extended forever. So that's the beauty of O1 visa. Send your CV to a lawyer to do a O1 visa evaluation to see if you have a good chance for O1 visa. TN working visa, so that's a working visa reserved for citizens from Canada and Mexico. So if you have a citizen of Canada and Mexico, you could evaluate if TN visa is a better option for you. And I know from a lot of Chinese, they come here for visiting scholars. You have a J visa, and J allows you to work too. So that's another alternative for H1B working visa. So I think that's the main part of my presentation today. If you would like to evaluate your H1B, you can send your resume to us. And also, I would like to share a good news for you with you is for H1B lottery part, we're not going to charge any fee. So you only pay attorney fee once you are selected of a quota and then you are ready to prepare your H1B. So for the H1b lottery part, we in the past we will charge attorney fee for that part, but this year we waived that fee because we have practiced H1b registration system for the 2 years. We already know how to do it efficiently, so we would like to share that benefit with everybody by not charging H1b lottery part of the attorney fee. And this is the evaluation information that you could send us email. And I know a lot of people asking our WeChat group code. So this is the WeChat group code that you can scan, you can join. And in that group, we're going to answer your question. We're going to discuss how to prepare a strong H1B petition in 2022, and then instruct you how to solve the tough questions. So this is the WeChat group. So this WeChat group, you can communicate with us in English or Chinese. So either language is fine. And then right now, I'm going to answer question. I'm going to open up the Q&A session. So before I answer the question in the Zoom, I'm going to go through my question from the 2022 H1b WeChat group first. Okay, so the first question I'm going to go through is 2021 March, they got a job offer, and in June, they're going to go to the sponsor to work, and it asks, they have participated in H1b Lottery for 3 times, but have not been able to get H1b quota. So how do I know whether the company has registered for H1b Lottery? So I think whether the company is willing to do H1b Lottery for you, you should really talk to the HR, to your supervisor directly. There is no way for you to find out online, because this is your employer's decision. There's no way for you to check. I would suggest you to talk to your employer directly. So this way you would know whether they sponsor you for H1b Lottery or not. So as a STEM major, we know you have 3-year OPT, so that will support you for multiple years of H1b Lottery, and use that opportunity to find an employer that's willing to sponsor H1b. So that's a better use of your OPT 3 years period. So this is one question. And they were saying 2021 February, already work for a company in New York, H1b already been approved, and they plan to go back to China in 2022. They ask a question about how to apply for H1b visa in the US Embassy. I think you have 2 ways. One is you just go through the traditional H1b visa application, just check the Beijing Consular Office's website to see what kind of information you need to submit. And the traditional one is you go to the in-person interview, and in that interview you present them whatever the documentations the website requests you to provide. And by the end of 2022, there is a special policy to waive in-person visa interview for H1b. So you could also take benefit of that, because as long as you meet the in-person waiver condition, probably you don't need to go through the in-person H1b visa interview. So just to check the website, go through the H1b visa application part. The Beijing consular will notify you whether they want to arrange H1b in-person interview or not, probably 2 weeks before the actual interview is scheduled. So it's not like at the very beginning of the H1b visa application, when you fill out the form, you would know whether the interview will be waived. It will be waived during the processing. It will be waived. Maybe you will get a notice during like 2 weeks before the scheduled interview date, whether you need to go to the interview or not. So that's what we heard. This is a new policy, and it depends on the case by case. It's not like everybody, as long as you meet the waiver, you will not be able to go interview. Is evaluated case by case. So probably you may have to follow the emphasis instruction on that. And the other question in the WeChat forum is, has never been participated in H1b Lottery, and they have two offers. Whether they can participate in H1b Lottery is, of course, if you have two job offer, you really need to talk to your employer to participate in 2022 H1b Lottery. And another question is, if one of them get picked, and if we have the quota, are we able to change another job? Yes, you are able to change your job after your first H1B is approved. So let's say you have a two H1B lottery participant registration. One of them you got a quota. You have to go through this one. So you submit H1B application based on this quota. You got approval. So once you got H1B approval, we suggest you wait until October 1st for this H1B to start. And then once you got one or two paychecks, you can switch your job. You can do H1B transfer. So that's, we would say it's very comfortable for USS to make sure you activated your H1B petition before you do transfer. Okay, another question is H1b Lottery. Is H1b Lottery random this year? And if it's random, why do we need an evaluation for that? That's a very good question. So H1b Lottery is random this year. So that's a good news, especially for small business, because it's not linked to the wage level anymore. So H1b Lottery will be random this year. But why do I need H1b evaluation if the H1b Lottery is random? Because of the reason we just covered in our seminar. When you do H1b evaluation, you would know what kind of job you will have and what kind of salary you will have. Then you should confirm with your employer, hey, this is the salary. Are you comfortable to pay? And once employer is confirmed, this is the salary they can afford, they will be very, very happy for you to get a quota and go further with your H1B application. So this is the reason we suggest you do H1B evaluation even before the lottery. So now I'm going to answer the question in the room. I will stop sharing this page, so I will give you 30 seconds to scan this code, and then I'm stop sharing this PPT, and so I can focus on the question I raised in the room. Are you going to share the PPT later in the WeChat group? I probably will not. So that's why I encourage everybody come to the meeting in person so we can have communication and we can share the PPT. And that's we don't share the PPT in the WeChat group. And next question, you are H1B status in the US and also activate this H1B, whether you can apply for interview waiver while you are in the US. This is a very, very good question, because once the news come out, say the working visa, if you meet a certain condition, you are able to waive the in-person interview. Then a lot of clients ask a question like, if I'm in the US right now, I do want to plan for future. I know I'm going to an overseas trip maybe in a few months. If the in-person interview could be waived, is that possible for me to apply for a visa in the future? Next time when I return to the US, I can use that, but I don't need it right now. So I'm not overseas right now. Is that possible for me to apply for the visa while I'm in the US? So in the practice, technically this could be achieved technically. So you have to go through the regular visa application processing, like fill out the DS 160 form online and schedule your visa appointment, your visa interview appointment online. And like I just said, 2 weeks before the scheduled appointment date, if the embassy believes your case is very straightforward and you meet in-person waiver condition, and they believe they don't have any more question to ask you, they will send you notice saying you mail us all the required documentation, including your passport. So they're going to do waiver of the in-person interview for you. At that point, you would know, okay, if I don't need to go in person, you just mail everything to the embassy, and probably chances are you can get your visa even without leaving US. So this is the scenario technically you are able to achieve. So make sure if your record is very clean, you don't have any complication, you don't have any violation of immigration law, you could hope this could happen. But chances also are you register everything, they still request you to go in person. So at that time, you either cancel your appointment if you could not even travel, or you have to travel back to go your in-person visa interview to finish that part. So I think this is the question up in the air, but you can try. Literally, you could achieve that if you are lucky. Okay. May MS graduate and then it's OPT. If I'm outside of US, may I participate in H1B Lottery? Yes. H1B Lottery doesn't request you to be physically in the US. As long as you have a job offer, as long as your employer is willing to sponsor you, you can participate in H1B anywhere. If I have 2 job offer, do I have to let employer know we have another employer sponsor us in the H1B lottery? No, not at all. So you don't need to let each other know that you have multiple employers sponsor your job. It's not required. Do previous TN denials affect a first-time H1B application? It depends on what's the reason of the denial. If the denial is because the job position that doesn't meet a TN requirement, or like the substantial elements related to the position, that should not affect your future H1B. But if the denial is because of the violation of your visa or your status, or is because you provided fraudulent information to US, if that's the reason of the denial, that kind of denial will affect all the future visa application, transfer status, extension status, or even green card application. So that's why we always emphasize, don't do anything violate your legal status. Do not provide fraudulent information to the government, and make sure you comply with your visa requirement. So this way you don't end up have any negative record that will affect your future visa application. For the interview waiver for H1B visa application, does it also work for the US consular embassy in Canada or Mexico? How long approximately is the processing time? Is there a rush or premium processing for the H1B application? Yes, it works for third country consulate as well. And the processing time for each visa application varies depending on the consular you are going to. So you have to check the consular's specific website to see the processing time for the visa application. There is a expedite visa application request if you could meet the requirement, like if you have urgency, humanity reason, or the financial loss of on your employer's side that they want you to be able to get the visa immediately. If you meet the expedite requirement, of course, they are going to process your visa pretty quickly. However, we have requested quite a lot of expedite visa processing in the past, especially during the pandemic. The outcome is not very, very positive because I think one of the reasons is because different embassy has a high higher, a lot of cases they're going to processing, so they have no capacity to processing expedite a request unless this is real urgent. So I would not suggest to expect you could get approval of expedite service, but you can try. But even the regular service does not take that long right now, so it's much better right now. So I see audience raise your hand, so you can just unmute yourself and ask me a question if you would like to do the audio part, or you can type your question in the chat. So basically, I think I answered all the questions in the chat and also in the Zoom room. I will give you 2 more minutes. If you have more questions, you can put in the chat, and also any topics that you would like me to cover in my next H1b seminar, you can also let me know. And at the same time, if you have H1b that needs to be evaluated, you are welcome to send me email to do the H1b evaluation. And if there is no more question, I think I'm going to end my seminar for now. And thank you everybody for participating, and good luck with everybody. Hopefully you guys can all get H1b quota and be able to continue stay and work in the US. Thank you very much.